Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So, tell us, what was it like for Cuba to suddenly have very little oil?
It was terrible, basically, because all the life supporting system collapsed.
Right.
And even when people they were ready to resist whatever, they had to eat every day.
Right.
So like the food scarcity was the main problem that we have to face.
Yeah.
In the sense that if you have public transportation or petrol to go in the car to the countryside to get food, you cannot get food. And if you have an 8 hours blackout, you cannot storage food in the freezer.
Right.
So you have to eat fresh food and things like that. And it took some time to people to realize that the best way and the most reliable and the cheapest way to get food in these conditions was to grow food.
And how quickly did that happen? What were the key steps to change from one system to another?
Basically, there was no food. People, they just squat places in the city,
Yeah.
and they started to grow, especially the easy things that you can grow in the tropics. Cassava, banana, sweet potatoes,
Yes.
yam, filling things, starchy stuff.
Okay.
Of course. That you also don't need, those plants are very resistant, especially if you add some water and more or less. You don't need special seeds, just a little piece of the plant and that's it.
Wow.
And after that, people turn off towards vegetables because they take less time to grow.
Yes.
And they can be like every day, but that need more, skills to grow that amount of food. And that's how the system was supported from the government and from people that they were doing popular education and workshops and ideas.
And what did that do for the culture of Cuba? How did the community respond as a group to this new challenge?
The good things that we have, it was our community fabric. It's very strong. So, we just show up in the houses. We don't call in advance or things like that. And people share a lot of things, So there were any arrangement for a garden, it should be a community garden. And instead of wasting space in allotments, everybody think together, plant together, and grow together, and they share the food according to the number of hours that they have been working in the garden.
And would you say that life was better, worse, different? How did it change?
It changed the life of the people because the systems were not working, so it was hard.
Yeah.
But people was a lot more active, using bicycles, eating vegetables, and making a lot more exercise. So after the very, very hard years passed, I should say after 1996, people started to learn that how to make life more efficient, and they were thinking in a different way.
And so it was actually not a bad response. On the surface, it was...
On the contrary, I think that when people were betting how much time we're going to last,
Yes.
2 months, 6 months, we're there, and we are producing more food than ever. And the food is almost 9% organic.
How amazing! And it's probably not that expensive, huh?
Totally. Organic food in Cuba is cheaper than conventional
think
food.
that-
It's difficult to see the impacts, no? But even we were a country that people, they have rice, beans, cassava, not farina, cassava, boiled cassava, and pork meat. The rest were no food, it was weeds and things like that. But right now, people eat a lot more diverse food. So we have the edible guinea pigs, we have rabbits, and we have all sort of poultry, and we eat lots of vegetables,
Tell me about transport. How about moving around? Did that change how
That
people
was the
lived?
most difficult thing.
Yeah.
The most difficult thing, especially because this really depends on the oil, but not only about the oil. The thing is the technology that we had that came from Eastern Europe, it was very, very inefficient. Russian trucks, they make 2 kilometers on the liter of diesel.
Wow.
So it's even it's not the lack of oil, but it's not even the inefficiency. Also that we didn't have money for the spare parts and they were not able to produce anymore. They have their own crisis now. So people have to be very creative. One of the things that unfortunately didn't work is that at some point we have 250,000 bicycles only in Havana. But like since you were forced to use your bicycle every day, everywhere, and you get to the parties all sweat and like after like 5 years, people they start hating their bicycles,
Oh, yeah.
So it needs to be an alternative,
Yeah.
not
It has
like
to be a
your only
choice,
choice.
not a forced thing.
And the same for the huge like public transportation solution, the Camel, this big truck, the freight truck that we use, and things like that. But people walk a lot, and the whole country relocalizing. So right now we have university sites in each municipality of the country, and we're 169 municipalities. And people, they try to, for example, go, when you look for a job, you look if that working place that have transportation or office close to your house, and everything was relocalized. So the life was more community reinforced. Most of the things were happening in your municipality.
Okay, so think about a country like Australia and imagine that the price per liter of petrol here goes 2 times or 3 times as expensive.
Very soon.
What is the short advice that you have for Australians thinking about the possibility of very expensive oil?
Even I think that before the oil, I'm sure that the situation would be very expensive food.
Yeah.
Because of the so-called biofuels right now, that they are really putting a big burden. Plus all the impacts of climate change.
Yes.
That
we have a major drought in Australia.
Exactly.
It's had a big impact on the price of
But still, Australia is huge. And for example, in Brazil, you have this excellent network of public transportation.
Yes.
Here you don't have anything. A little bit in Melbourne. That's it. I just don't know.
Just a smart place to start, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the rich countries in this planet, they're very proud when their big cities have public transportation, but not here. They don't care.
Yeah.
And this is like a very important, critical point, because most of the goods are shipped by the road, and that is going to be critical. The other thing is that it would be necessary to try to reinforce the community networks. The culture, in my opinion, sorry for that, is a little bit individualistic, the families.
That's just because you haven't been to my neighborhood.
Okay. That's great. No, I've been in small places, town, 500 people, it's different, no? But in the big cities. But at the same time, there is a huge potential because, like, the cities are very sparse and there is a lot of space. That even more space than Cuba, because the Spanish form of construction was very compact, very compacted. And the soil is not that bad, Around Sydney there's some very good soils to grow that. So I think that this is a good thing if people just start like doing basic steps, growing some food, catching some water from the rain, get to know their neighbors, say hello to them, and things like that are very, very important. And at the same time, I think that Australia needs to do a collective reflection around water. In my modest opinion, there's lots of like cash crops that they're using cheap water, and there are other parts. I was in Adelaide, and it was very sad, the lack of water there. So it's necessary, in my opinion, a collective reflection around such a resource.
That Brisbane has the most efficient use of domestic water of any urban developed city in the world?
I did.
We are better at saving water here than just about anywhere on the planet. So we can
why?
actually do it. Because we were forced to. Our dams suddenly had no water, and we had to learn to conserve. And then the better we got at it, the more confident we got that we can do it. And now we are world class.
140 liters per person.
There you go. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward for you to come see my garden.
Okay. I hope. You're welcome.
Thank you.